Pain is probably the most familiar feeling associated with BDSM or sadomasochism in particular. A BDSM activity does not necessarily involve pain. However, for many BDSM practitioners, pain is an important component. Masochists' desire for pain seems very contradictory at first glance. The biological function of pain is to act as an alarm. The purpose of this alarm is to prevent injury. From an evolutionary perspective, pain is there so that we won't do certain things again. For instance, pain tells us that we shouldn't touch a hot object again, so that our bodies are not damaged, because this damage is bad for our survival and reproduction. In this way, the body protects itself against harmful stimuli by sending a pain signal. Experiencing pain in everyday life is an unpleasant experience for most people. Given the natural function of pain, it makes sense that most people try to minimize the experience of pain in life. Yet, masochists seem to seek and enjoy pain. Is that really the case? And if so, why is that? Various theories have been proposed to explain the masochist's desire for pain. Baumeister classifies these theories into 4 categories: pain into pleasure, pain as a symbol of obedience, pain as punishment, and pain as an escape from the self. Pain into pleasure. The first idea is that for masochists, pain turns into pleasure, or at least it becomes impossible for them to separate pain from pleasure. I do not separate pain from pleasure, and it's very mixed for me. Well, there are a few points. Many masochists enjoy the experience of pain only in the sexual context. They dislike headaches, dental work, and getting their fingers smashed in a car door just like anyone else. For now, let's just focus on the pain in the sexual context. That is, pain experienced during a BDSM activity. In the sexual context, a limited intensity of pain is attractive to masochists. Most masochists find pain attractive as long as it does not lead to serious injury. It's not to say that unlimited pain is appealing to masochists. The next point is that masochistic experiences are indeed painful. That is, the feeling of pain for the person is not removed from this experience. A whip for a masochist really causes physical pain. Still, it is possible that this unpleasant feeling is accompanied by pleasure. This combination of pain and pleasure encourages masochists to repeat these activities. There is not much research done on the perception of pain in masochists. One piece of research in this field provides evidence in line with the idea that pain and pleasure go together. Still, there is no evidence that pain turns into pleasure for masochists. Pain as a symbol of obedience. What does sadomasochistic behavior, particularly the sensation of pain, mean for someone who engages in it? There is certainly no definitive, comprehensive, generalizable answer to this question, but we do have several ideas. One idea is that pain in sadomasochistic activities symbolizes obedience. You dominate me, and you can give me pain. I'm in pain, so I'm dominated by you. Receiving pain without questioning it can be a clear symbol that the submissive belongs to the dominant. That means the dominant can give him pain as she pleases, and the submissive has no duty but to obey. The physical sensation of this pain is unpleasant to the masochist, but he enjoys its symbolic meaning. There are some signs in favor of this idea. One indication is that masochists usually do not like pain that is accidentally inflicted on them, and prefer the pain to be inflicted on them voluntarily. They want the dominant to give them pain willfully and intentionally. Suppose that the dominant's hand accidentally hits the submissive's face firmly, feeling like a hard slap. However, it's clear to both sides that this hit was unintentional. Compare this situation with one in which the slap is deliberately made by the will of the dominant. This intentional slap may have a specific purpose, for example punishment, or it may have been seemingly without any reason and merely intended to please the dominant. In any case, it seems to be important for the masochist that the dominant has a will and desire to inflict pain on them. This importance can be seen as a sign that pain for the masochist is a symbol of obedience. In this sense, masochists do not merely want pain. They want their partners to want to hurt them. Another sign associated with pain as a symbol of obedience is the importance of the type of relationship with masochists. Many masochists need to be in an emotional relationship with the dominant. This need can have various reasons. For example, they may be less anxious in such a relationship and feel more secure expressing their sexual desires. Another reason is the symbolic meaning of pain. As already mentioned, not every pain is enjoyable for masochists. Pain is pleasurable when it has a specific meaning. This definite meaning can be formed in relation to the dominant partner. Tolerating the pain inflicted by the will and desire of the dominant conveys a symbolic message that they have an inferior position. The masochist prefers a deep and emotional relationship because it is only in this way that suffering will be meaningful. They prove their commitment and love to their partner by suffering. Pain as a symbol of obedience seems like a logical and plausible idea given the ideas that we have discussed. However, it's not a comprehensive explanation for the role of pain in masochism. People can obey their partner in other ways or choose other ways to express their love and affection. Why should pain be the choice? Besides, masochists sometimes enjoy pain without this pain being significantly associated with obedience. Even without this symbolic meaning, pain can still be attractive to some masochists. Let's explore more ideas. Pain as punishment. In psychology, punishment means reducing the occurrence of behavior by applying an unpleasant stimulus or eliminating a pleasant stimulus. If you do something wrong, you get beaten up. If you say something bad, there is no orgasm in sex this time. Punishment in the form of beatings is accompanied by physical pain, and punishment in the form of deprivation of dessert is associated with psychological pain. Inflicting pain for the sake of punishment is not limited to sadomasochism. People get punished for their actions, behaviors, and their beliefs. There is an essential and key difference between this type of punishment and those seen in sexual sadomasochism. Punishment beyond sex is an act without mutual consent. A masochist tied to the bed and flogged by her partner has a similar appearance from the external point of view to a criminal who is tortured in prison with a whip. However, one is there with his will and the other by force. What makes a masochist voluntarily accept this pain? One idea is that the masochist has done something wrong and feels guilty and wants to be punished. Like a criminal who surrenders himself to the police to be punished for his actions, a masochist surrenders himself to his partner. What do the masochists themselves say about this? In letters received from masochists, Baumeister identified and categorized 3 categories of guilt related to pain. In the first category, the person explicitly refers to the guilt caused by a mistake in his daily life. For example, he decided to quit smoking but grabbed a pack of cigarettes and smoked one. Or she flirted with someone at a party last night and now feels guilty. Or he failed to do his housekeeping tasks, and so on. However, these behaviors may be merely an excuse for receiving pain in sadomasochistic sex. They're excuses adapted from the mistakes of everyday life. In other words, it can be viewed as follows. Some people who want to receive sexual pain need an excuse to start this sexual activity. Mistakes in everyday life can provide them with the excuses that they need. Feelings of guilt may be created entirely during a sadomasochistic game. Why did you reach orgasm without my permission? Now you have to be punished. One interviewee of a piece of BDSM research mentions, when I was distracted and wanted to go for a drink or the bathroom in the middle of a roll, that person would count the seconds to see how long it would take and punish me for the numbers he counted. He beats me with his belt with that number of strokes. Obviously, drinking water without permission or the seconds spent in the bathroom are excuses made just for the sake of punishment. Giving pain may be done without any relation to guilt. It is as if there's no logic behind it, and it is done only because the dominant partner has willed it. For some masochists, this type of pain is preferred. That is, they prefer pain to be unrelated to punishment. This kind of pain can carry the message, you belong to me and I don't need a reason to give you pain. This feeling of belonging to the dominant is pleasing to some masochists. Another theory says that masochists feel unconsciously guilty and tend to be punished for getting rid of this guilt. Given that this theory is related to the concept of the unconscious, it's not falsifiable or refutable. Different masochists seem to have different preferences for the meaning of pain. Some people find pain more attractive in the sense of punishment. Some prefer no connection between the pain they suffer and the idea of punishment. Now let's consider a basic idea. Does guilt make people feel that they deserve punishment? If someone does something wrong and feels guilty about it, does that feeling make him want to get punished? There is some evidence in this regard. In one experiment, people were asked to write an article about a memory in which they had immorally excluded someone. They were then asked to keep their hands in ice water for as long as possible. This is a painful, yet harmless experience. Compared to the control group, the group that wrote about the memory of exclusion and probably felt guilty kept their hands in the ice for a longer time and also reported feeling better as a result. In a similar experiment, people were asked to write about something that happened to them in the past that made them feel most guilty. They were then asked to shock themselves with a shock device. People could increase or decrease the shock values of the device. Here, too, the group that felt guilty gave a stronger shock to themselves than the control group, and the stronger the shock they gave, the less guilty they felt. Pain as an escape from the self. Pain acts as an alarm to keep the living organism from being harmed. It makes the person avoid harmful stimuli. The paradox is that masochists seem to seek and enjoy pain. Research shows that many masochists only want pain to the extent that it does not cause harm. In other words, masochists are very careful not to be physically harmed, and it is not that pain is infinitely appealing to them. As for the severity, I like to get slapped in the face, no matter how intense it is, to the extent that I am not harmed. I do not like it to the extent of injury. I'm okay with my skin turning red. I'm very attracted to giving my partner pain to the extent that they are not seriously injured, and it's entirely done by their consent. Pain has an unusual function for masochists. For masochists, pain is not a warning sign of harm, because they have already ensured that they will not be harmed. It is clear why many masochists emphasize the importance of trust. Many BDSM practitioners use a safe word. A safe word is like an unquestionable no that can stop the game immediately. A key function of the safe word is that the masochist can unambiguously stop the game wherever the pain becomes unbearable. Sometimes the pain gets too much. We had a safe word like red or insect. With these precautions, masochism separates pain from harm. However, this separation is often limited to the sexual context, and pain in everyday life still has its alarming function and is unpleasant for masochists. Let's consider pain in the sexual context. If pain is not an alarm for masochists, what is its function? Pain focuses the mind on the present moment. Pain limits a person's wider consciousness and reduces it to the physical body that is here and now. Focusing on the various meanings associated with the individual's personality and identity, the responsibilities and duties that are placed on a person in daily life are removed from the center of attention while feeling pain. A slap or spanking holds the person in the moment. The pain makes those other things seem unreal and irrelevant. Pain can relieve anxiety by distracting you from your consciousness. We live in our heads most of the time. It gets you out of your head. We have examined 4 theories about the attractiveness of pain, its causes and backgrounds, in masochism. None of these ideas alone are complete and generalizable to all masochists. Still, combining them together can provide a plausible explanation for the desire of at least some masochists to experience pain. At the same time, some of our questions remain unanswered until further research into the biological aspects of sadomasochism is carried out.